My name's Howard. I'm the CEO of Tidepool. Last October, at the last DData, I gave a very brief history of the We Are Not Waiting movement. I actually tried to chronicle this on Twitter as well. There's a Twitter thread about the history of the We Are Not Waiting hashtag and the We Are Not Waiting movement. This is a picture from the first DData gathering. So this meeting, the Diabetes Mind DData gathering, this was in a tiny little room at Stanford, November 2013. It's actually pretty awesome that a bunch of the people that are in this picture are actually back and have come to every DData since. There's Lane Desborough and John Kostick and Ben West and Sarah Krugman, and there's Nate Heinzman, who works at Dexcom now. So this was pretty amazing, and the reason I wanted to show this is because this was where the We Are Not Waiting hashtag was born. I don't think it's where the ethos or the movement happened. I think that was already happening. Night Scout was already underway. People were already working on reverse engineering pumps and CGMs. John had figured out how to get data for his son, Evan, out of the Dexcom G4 receiver, and Ben, where's Ben? Raise your hand. There's Ben, had been working on reverse engineering the Medtronic pump. So the movement was already underway. This is where it got the hashtag, and it was Lane Desborough who said, you know what's common about all of us is we're not waiting. We're not waiting to do good, to do things for our kids, to do things for ourselves. And it really took off from there. So very proud to have been a part of that from the very beginning. One of the things I said last October, which is still very true when we announced that Tidepool was doing Tidepool Loop, is that we are standing on the shoulders of this We Are Not Waiting movement. So I don't know if you can see it from where you are, but that is a giant. There's actually beanstalks in the background, which you probably can't see because he's the We Are Not Waiting giant. And it says We Are Not Waiting on his shirt, and then there's the tiny little Tidepool standing on the shoulders of that We Are Not Waiting giant. And this is more true than ever today. And I actually would like to take a moment, because I could not be standing here right now. We could not be doing what we are doing, and I couldn't be talking about what I'm going to talk about without that We Are Not Waiting giant. And we are incredibly fortunate that not the entire, but a whole lot of the We Are Not Waiting giants are in this room right now. So I'd like to take a minute. If you have ever contributed code or documentation or a pull request, or you've helped somebody out in CGM in the cloud, or you started CGM in the cloud, if you have worked on OpenAPS or Loop or Android APS or any other open piece of software that the We Are Not Waiting movement is now using, will you please stand up for a minute so that we can all say thank you? It is amazing what these people have done. Like, we would not be here today without this incredible effort of people paying it forward and saying, I want to share my time and my talents and my energy and my volunteer energy in order to help make other people's lives better. And I'm so incredibly grateful. Also last October, we let you know that we were taking one of those projects, Loop, and I know Nate was here earlier today. Is Nate Radcliffe still there? Is Nate? Nate is one of those giants, and Nate helped get this software started. Pete, who's sitting right behind Nate, made the incredible Riley link, which allowed it to work, and which, on top of the amazing work Ben had done, I believe you called it a magnum opus, allowed an iPhone to actually control a Medtronic pump. And last October, we let you know that our friends at Insulet had stepped up and said, yep, we're gonna make a Bluetooth LE-enabled version of the Omnipod, and Tidepool Loop is gonna be able to work with that pod. So Insulet had about as much courage as any device company can have in stepping up to be the first, and I just wanna say thank you to all my friends at Insulet, I know you're here somewhere, for making that happen. And I will have you know that we actually have seen boluses and other commands from Tidepool Loop actually going through to the Omnipod development boards, and it is super exciting. It is happening. The other thing, and you heard about this earlier from Alan from the FDA, is the FDA is also a hero here, because the FDA stepped up to say, we get it. We get that approving entire systems is way too hard for everybody involved. And so the FDA gets a huge amount of credit for saying, you know what, we're going to turn this into a component approach, and you can bring components to us. And the great news is there's now 2 out of 3 that exist. Dexcom stepped up to say, yep, we want to be the first iCGM. And they got the iCGM designation. And then Tandem stepped up and said, we're going to be one of those ACE pumps. We all thought it was going to be called iPump. Turns out it's called ACE pump, alternate controller-enabled pump. Makes total sense. So this is pretty awesome that the FDA said, we are in. We're going to help make componentized systems happen. So thank you very much to Alan and the entire agency for making this a reality. Yes. I'm thrilled to announce today that Dexcom has stepped up not only to make an iCGM happen, but actually to officially partner with Tidepool. And so it may or may not surprise you to know that Dexcom is now the official partner of Tidepool for Tidepool Loop with their Dexcom G6 iCGM system. So thank you to everyone at Dexcom. We are thrilled to be partnering. Now, this week was the Apple Developer Conference, WWDC. I know a bunch of folks were down there. If you've ever seen an Apple keynote address, you may or may not have noticed that they have a bit of a pattern that we would like to steal shamelessly. There's one more thing. I could be done right now. Like, I'm a happy guy. We've got Dexcom on board. We've got Insulet with Omnipod on board. We are actively working on Tidepool Loop, and we're going to put a version of this incredible Loop app into the App Store, and it's going to be FDA regulated. And if everything goes, we are excited to bring that to you. I could be done right now and be a super happy guy. But there's one more thing. We're also happy to announce that we have a new pump partner on board. And this may be a pump partner that you're not expecting us to announce, but it's true, and it's really happening. And I want to give a huge congratulations and welcome to the Tidepool Loop ecosystem to Medtronic, who is going to be shipping. I know, right? We are excited. There are some folks from Medtronic here. Ollie, thank you so much for your leadership of the engineering team. They will be bringing a Bluetooth LE-enabled version of a Medtronic pump to market, and also working on the iCGM designation for the Guardian 3 sensor, which is amazing. And all of that will become part of Tidepool Loop, and we are thrilled to be partnering with Medtronic, and especially thrilled that Medtronic has stepped up and said, yes, we believe in an interoperable ecosystem of diabetes devices. Congratulations, thank you. So I was sitting with Katie the other day, and she said, what do dance cards actually look like? And she actually Googled. It turns out they look very old-fashioned. This is not what a dance card looks like. But this is what Tidepool's dance card looks like right now. And the thing I want to make sure the other device makers in the room are aware is our dance card is not yet full. We believe in a full dance card. We want there to be multiple pump vendors, multiple CGM vendors, all coming to the table and helping to truly give choice to the diabetes community. So thank you everyone for your support of Tidepool. Thank you so much to Insulet and to Dexcom and to Medtronic for coming to the table. We're excited to work with other device makers as well. If you would like to learn more, as always, you can go to tidepool.org/loop. We have a little survey there that you can fill out, and we will put you on our mailing list, and we will send you updates as they happen. Thank you all.